Okay, this is the organization overview for the A2 Development Corporation. It's for anybody pretty much who would like to get involved with the activities or who may be looking to support it. The mission statement. A mission statement is to spark the imagination and motivation of future generations in order to contribute to a better world for all to live in. I think this pretty much sums it up. Everybody agrees on this one pretty much, so it looks like it's the one we're going to be using. The background, you can pause this, like I said, and just read all this on your own time. It was incorporated in 1997 as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. If you look up the classifications, 501c3 is a good one to go for when it comes to tax write-offs. And an overview of this is pretty much stating our perspective as donors and supporters of other organizations over the years, and we're talking like 30 years, who post their annual reports showing they made over 500 million. And if you make over 500 million for 30 years, as an example, you should be able to see some progress, some change in the world, and make the world better. Has the world changed? Has the world been improved? Has the world been made better? And unfortunately, these ones that we've supported over the years, it has not. Everything's still the same. Nothing's really changed. So that was our focus of what we needed, and to spark our action to actually create our own. And of course, there's different classifications. We're looking into nonprofits. Okay, now what type of charity group would be probably most effective? And you look at the world problems, the root cause, usually it's all human. So how do you motivate humans to change the world themselves? And that was another focus to rely on. And then looking into it, a lot of us are divers, and we're in the diving community, and we've read stories about remote islands that used to be overfished, and they kind of decimate the fish populations. And the industry in that area kind of turned around, went from fishing to diving, and tourists were the main dollars coming in now. But it didn't start that way. It actually started with the kids, and you have these species survival groups that would go in there and they create activity books and coloring books for these kids, for the children. And as they grow up, they end up changing their view on life. They no longer more like the fish is my friend. We had Flipper the dolphin, TV shows. Everybody got, into dolphins and supporting that. And it actually took care of itself. And there are some organizations out there that will actually attack the people and their culture and go about the wrong way of doing it. And that was the best way, really. What we saw, the impact, and it was a very good way of doing it. So that is our focus now, is with the youth programs, and then also with some other programs, is providing a place, stimulating, that will naturally motivate others to make the change. And now for our foundation, what do we do, or what do we have that can do that? There's got to be some certain ground rules, and so these are our ground rules pretty much for all the programs. We got to have a set or estimated budget, for each program. Go ahead and pause this. I'm trying to keep this short. You have the symbols down at the bottom to show how much you need to raise, and you're going to show the progress. It's always get posted on social media, it gets posted on the website. Everybody can see that. It's public information because everybody's involved. This is not our program. This is not our cause. It's everybody's cause that wants to support the organization and make a change, make this world better. And then, like I said, there's a timeline. You're going to see when it's going to be done. There's a balance in all the activities. You're not going to have too little, not enough, or too much excessive. You have just the right. So that's like a principal foundation. Like I said, go ahead and read this over, and you'll understand. Maybe you'll get the point. The services are going to be programs. There's a lot of children programs, youth, and there's a lot of adult programs too that are missing. The voids in our lives, or there's just not enough of it, and so we're just adding to it. It's like giving options. Youth programs, Imagine Child Care. So like example for Imagine Child Care is, you go to a daycare and it has dressed up like an enchanted forest or like a castle or whatever, and all the kids have Halloween costumes. That's one of the activities actually, is after Halloween, what do you do with your costumes? Well, you donate it to these organizations. Here are the daycares that are following the Imagine Child Care theme. So that's just one. Then you have Aquanauts, which is pretty much drown-proofing young children. Drowning is a big concern, and they call it the silent killer because there's a lot of people who seen children drowning in pools, didn't even know what they were doing. They didn't even look like they were stressed, and so it's something where kids can feel comfortable, teaches them when they need help to ask for help and call for help. Trail Raiders is a like Indiana Jones style program. It's taught history the way it's supposed to be, like development. You have like the wagon wheel, and it developed into the automotive wheel today, and as an example, and when you can see how something progresses and develops over the years, you can kind of forecast and see where it's headed. And if you want to build innovative thinkers, that's the way to go with the young kids. Transform. Transform is a weight loss, mainly focused in on fat burning activities. It's developed in phases, and it's a lot of fun activities. Kids will be out there doing exercises. They don't really know they're exercising because, of course, I don't know any kid that thinks exercise is fun, but these are fun activities that eventually it'll take care of itself. And then there's Rangers, which is geography, earth science, and more activities for your state parks, national parks, and all over. They learn a lot of those activities too: compass reading, navigation. So those are good skills. Urban Ironman. This one is for the inner city youth who have that drive and that motivation, but they have no access to resources. They can't afford it. So we provide the resources and the training to get their peak performance and help capitalize on what they already have. It just they just need the help. Dive Masters is a leadership program. And it's a true leadership program because you really have to be in shape. You have to know what you're doing. When you're 60 feet down underwater and you have a group of people that you're in charge of, you need to know what to look for to see signs if anything's happening fast, and be able to help somebody if they need it. So a lot of professionalism goes involved in this, management of the group, and there's leadership, search and rescue, and all that. The long-term plan for all the programs is actually to get a kid from every group, show them how they can each use their talents, individual talents, to help the overall group, just like in reality, in real life, in our work world at work. So they get the picture growing up. That's the long term. It's still in the works. Not too sure if that will go into effect, but it's something we're looking at. The adult programs, you have Aquatic Awakenings, which is like an introduction to the underwater world. It also is for special populations with disabilities. You can get people in wheelchairs, can go scuba diving, and that's something that's really enlightening to them and motivating. You can look that up. There's already organizations all over. This is one of those ones where there's plenty of organizations out there. All we're doing is creating more of it, getting the word out more. The Sanctuary. Sanctuary is for our elderly, usually the retired community. As the world gets more and more populated, there's less and less places you can go and just be at peace. Enjoy nature and relax. With the silence, and there's noise everywhere a lot. And so we were developing areas where it's a beautiful atmosphere. Like it says here, like an enchanted forest, man-made gardens, to where they can go and just relax. Royal Day is usually for like the homeless, people with low incomes who've experienced hardships over and over in their life and just given up and pretty much hit rock bottom. And so it's just a way of kind of taking them out, pampering them for a little bit, and giving them that feel what it's like, to be catered to, and maybe spark some type of motivation to get back in the game. Coexist is pretty much a standard of living. Give you some examples like temperatures. How do humans operate at what maximum, like 68, 86 degrees, whatever our optimal temperatures we can reach our peak performance in. There should be at least 2 trees for every 2 humans. We need at least 15 minutes of sunlight twice a week. Those are just an example to where we can actually make a standard, even in the work environment, to where we can all operate and excel. There's some study I read one place where they actually had they said someplace back in time the Earth was way above 23% oxygen, and some scientists felt that's where the human race evolved. So I mean, if with that concept and with that thinking, create the perfect environment where we go. So anyway, that's just a standard of living. That's for awareness mainly. And then the underwater parks, we'll get more into that one because that's the big example. And then there's a lot of themes you see down here at the bottom. So an example launch, again, just from our perspective as supporters ourselves of other organizations, what do we want to see? What would we have liked to have seen over the years? The same way with the metrics at work and corporations, where you measure everything you do. And so Just an example here is you get a site agreement, you have the program outline, you draft it after your agreement. Fundraising begins, then you do your site build, and then you do your launch. And then after your launch, you're posting on social media, or pictures, videos, whatever. Everybody can see how it's going, what it's doing, and maybe posting reviews or whatever with the people who participate. And it outlines program purpose, outline the timeline, how long it's going to take. Example here is 10 weeks. The location selected. Example is Tahoe here. Then we have like phase 1, weeks 1 to 3, weeks 4 to 6 on phase 2, so on. You see the progress of the fundraising. Example growth. Again, this is like the United States for an example. All the major cities, which are the dots here. Then you have like the western states, whatever, southern states, and so on. The warmer states first, then work our way up to the colder states. That's because a lot of aquatics are involved. Second phase of the growth potential. These charts here also go hand in hand with it. You see the years, and the colors try to color code with the map, so you can see how it keeps growing and growing with the rollout worldwide. You want to make as much impact as possible. If you want to change the world, you got to have a big plan for a rollout. Supporting options, the quid pro quo, so you get something back to show your support. You can, like I said, pause this, you get an idea. And of course, these are just example trophies. It'll definitely change, or have some made actually with marine life on it, kind of fit our theme here. The world is over 70% water, so the oceans are our theme. Fundraisers, you can Google crowdfunding, get an idea of some of that, dinners, balls, festivals, and so on. You get an idea. And then, of course, there's community recognition, which is next, which is our honors. We honor those, like, so for the people, it's people with big hearts who inspire all those around them. They're just a great person. Somebody you could think of who always has a smile on their face, and they always uplift you every time you're around them. So those are the type of people we like to recognize. The businesses are the same. Someone who has a good practicing the lead, and your carbon footprint to a minimum, and also follow the lean practices. They don't waste a lot. They have a lot of happy customers, a lot of happy employees, so we like to support them too as well. And we'll have actually an audit sheet that we go around. We've already established it. And the companies we audit, the people we take on the nominations, do a little Q&A, and then those are the ones that we select to send the awards to. Merchandise, this is pretty much all your promotional items for any type of organization. You got shirts, hats, mugs, pins, portfolios, and so on. And then you also have the program t-shirts too for support. The materials of the programs are a biggie here because you have manuals, maps, logs, dive tables. Those are just some examples of materials. And those are some that we develop ourselves because it's in a progressive step, and the kids keep these logs with them for a long time. And I'm not going to volunteer too much information on that, but you'll see it coming. Job creation. You could just pause this. I mean, this is a dive industry, again, because most of the world is over 7% water, and a lot of the majority populations are lining the coastal communities. It creates a lot of jobs. And this is the one that makes the biggest impact. That's why it's used for an example. Take a look, pause, and you can look this over. And that's it. So if you have any questions, those of you that I send this to have my phone number, and they can probably call me or just send an email to the a2develop@corp@gmail.com. All right, thank you.